Am I the asshole? For cutting the line and stealing the handicap stall from a disabled person? I'm not kidding. On Friday, I was shopping at this Ranch 99 store and it has like restaurants in it. I've been having some stomach aches but not sure why, thought maybe it was my period soon. It's an Asian shop and it was also Autumn Moon Festival so it was crowded. Suddenly, I had to go. I left everything in a cart in the aisle and ran for the bathroom. There was a decent-sized line but I just ran forward and cut in front of everyone. There was an elderly woman who was about to make her way to the handicapped stall but I rushed forward, blurted out I'm sorry, I really need to go. She tried to protest along with other people in line, but I disregarded them and ran in and locked the door. It was followed by explosive diarrhea that was very audible to everyone. The grandma and all the other guests were hurling insults at me for being disrespectful and saying I was horrible for cutting in line but honestly it felt like an emergency. Was I enough for cutting all the people in line to the bathroom and essentially stealing the stall from the grandma? I think we can all agree that the real asshole in this story is your asshole. Nah. You're not an asshole for doing what you had to in an emergency, to avoid shitting your pants. They're not assholes for being pissed as you for cutting the line. Personally, if I was waiting in line and had the option to let someone cut or risk them exploding diarrhea all other themselves and therefore, the shared public bathroom, I'm letting them cut. Nah, only thing you could have done differently was yell as you were running I've got diarrhea lol. Embarrassing sure but no more embarrassing than them hearing you actually having the explosive diarrhea. And if I ever heard someone in clear bathroom distress I would shut my dang mouth and be glad they chose to cut in line rather than shitting on the floor or in their pants. Not the asshole. Specifically because it was audibly and odorously obvious to everyone why you did it, so continuing to insult you was unnecessary. Civility requires flexibility when need surpasses want. Not the asshole. Damn if you do. Damn if you don't. It was a crappy situation to be in but due to your urgency, I find this excusable. Nah yeah, it's not ideal and if I was in line and you cut in front of me, I'd be pissed. At the same time, as soon as I heard that explosive diarrhea, I'd be like yeah, that makes sense. When you gotta go, you gotta go. If you had shit yourself while waiting in line, everybody would wonder why you didn't just got to the front. No one wins here. Not the asshole. The initial anger is understandable. After hearing the diarrhea sounds the feeling should change to gratitude assuming everything was contained to the toilet and you didn't leave a mess in the stall. Personally I would much rather wait a little longer to go to the bathroom than have to wait in line with someone that just had straight diarrhea in their pants. Not the asshole and I'm so baffled by anyone voting YTA. I guess cutting an old disabled lady in like is objectively shitty but when the alternative is shitting your pants you can't help it. If I was waiting in line I'd be understanding of someone pushing in for emergencies. Nata, it was a necessity and I'm sure as hell the staff would be happy you went there and not on the floor. Not the asshole. X200B. Emergencies over civility. I'm going to say not the asshole. You didn't cut in front because you were entitled, you had an emergency situation. I have been in a similar situation and if I had to choose between doing what you did or unloading in my clothes, I'd do the same thing. Glad you made it to the stall. As a woman who's had a lot of stomach issues this year I'm going not the asshole. I've also let women who've expressed distress cut me in line and as soon as I heard the business happening I've felt nothing but sympathy for their situation. I'm torn between you're all assholes and no one is the asshole. It's objectively a jerk move to cut a bathroom line and I can't really blame people for being mad at you. But you know what your body is doing and it would have been worse for everyone involved if you'd waited. I'll go with nah. Nah. If someone jumped the line with no apologies or excuses I'd be pissed. But if you run past me clearly about to shit your pants and there is audible proof why wouldn't I just let you go ahead? What else should you do? Shit on the floor. An emergency is an emergency. Kanye shrug. Not the asshole. If this happened to me, I'd be relieved you cut in front of me. I'd rather the poo be in the toilet than all over the floor. Not the asshole, because no one has ever gone home and said to their roommate, partner, parent, I saw someone shit their pants today, it was awesome and smelled great, and I don't know how I've lived this long without this seminal visceral experience. They were out of cider. Honestly, nah. Handicapped stall should go to disabled people first, but I'm 100 sure everyone would rather you have stolen the stall than have an explosive emergency in front of everyone. I personally think they should have kept quiet after hearing it, but that's just me, and I can understand why they were miffed even if your reason was excusable. Not the asshole, it was an actual emergency. But this scenario seems off. Why was the handicapped stall even available if there was a line? It's not reserved like a handicapped parking spot, anyone can use it. Yes, because you physically outran an old woman already walking to the stall. Info: I really want to know if the insults continued after the diarrhea sounds. Was it like, hey you suck pbththtnththm? Never mind. Or did they keep going? Did the insults drown out the sound? Did anyone try to calm the crowd? I'm sorry, I'm getting so much joy out of this. I've done this before. Except it was a single-person bathroom and the elderly woman was my boss. When you gotta go, you gotta go. Another example of why we need a justified asshole vote. What you did was obviously rude, but seemingly unavoidable given the circumstances. Oh come on, not the asshole. An emergency is an emergency, you did what you had to do. Info: did the grandma shit her pants while waiting for you? Nah. Survival of the shittest. Not the asshole, I'd much rather be cut in line than watch or be near someone having aggressive diarrhea in their pants. The moment I smell the damage being done, all the annoyance would disappear. Not the asshole. Especially since your situation was clearly audible. Everyone and their grandma knew why you bum rushed the stall. Not the asshole. It was an emergency. Nah. I'd be annoyed, but the moment I heard what was going on I would be glad you made it. Having been the poor schmuck who would have to clean the floor if you shat yourself, feel free to cut in order to make the toilet in time. Not the asshole. Nah. You took the best option in a sea of shitty that's right options. I'm sure their anger was tempered by the sounds of explosive diarrhea letting them know this was an actual emergency. Big picture, their choice was stand next to a stinking mess of diarrhea or wait a couple more minutes for a stall. I think you made the right call. Nah. They're welcome to be angry, but when there's imminent danger of blowouts, I think you take precedence. Especially if you can hear it. I had my 4-year-old niece with me once and it was an emergency, but the woman in front was being an ass, so I dropped my niece's pants and held her over the trash can. Liquid diarrhea that smelled like a sewer. Nobody wins here. Also, next time run to the men's room. More likely to be available. Not the asshole. Any decent person would allow someone about to literally crap their pants cut the line. Hey, it was cut or put your explosive diarrhea in the sink or the trash can, right? Personally, I'd rather you cut in line and apologize after. Not the asshole, but damn, this is just terrible luck. Op's story is a great example of why people should not necessarily immediately jump down the throat of or start judging someone who looks to be doing something rude, disruptive, or otherwise out of the ordinary. As my grandmother used to say, you never know what that person may be going through, so try to be kind. ETA everyone in this situation will be mad no matter what outcome you chose. You had to go and so did they, but either way the floors were still clean. Not the asshole, you would have gotten 10x the abuse of you shit your pants. And then everyone would have you could have gone first. It was literally an emergency, it happens. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Manners argument versus emergency aside, I'm thinking of the employees that would have had to clean that up.